This is Marty Stewart with SeminarSecrets.com. You can hear the complete version of this big seminar interview by going to www.SeminarSecrets.com.
Again, everyone, I'd like to welcome everyone today to the conference call. My name is Armand Morin, and you are on the Big Seminar Preview Series. And these series of calls that many of you have been experiencing for the last several weeks, we've interviewed many of the different speakers that we're going to be having at the Big Seminar, all of our faculty members that will be teaching people for 3 full days in San Francisco on the August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And these speakers are really the top of the line, some of them the best internet marketers that there are, not just in the U.S., but in the world. These are the people that are making it happen. And what I did is I invited them all to one place at one time in order to teach you how to succeed online. Each one of them has a specialty, and they're going to teach you for 3 full days what that specialty is, how you can take your business to the next level. That's the thing that many people have a hard time with is I know what the internet is. I've tried a couple things. Some of them worked, some of them failed. But really, I'm trying to learn exactly how to do it from someone that is doing it successfully. And if that was the question to you, what would be the best thing that you could do? Well, that's to get as close to you can as to these people and to learn as much from the people that are currently doing it right now. And that's what we provide you at the Big Seminar in San Francisco. If you haven't heard about it, or if this is the first time you're on one of these calls, go to the website. You can read all about the different speakers. You can hear from previous attendees. You can hear from previous people that have been there and what their experience is. You can read it. You can listen to them. You can hear every one of our speakers. You can see videos of the people from our last seminar and get a feeling of how it is and what it's going to do for you. Many people, even the most successful marketers that we had last time, have increased their business by 100, 200%. I was talking with several people today as a result of what they learned at the seminar. Now, that's an incredible testimony from people that are already successful online. Imagine what it can do for you even if you're just starting online, getting the right step. So we're going to talk more about the Big Seminar later on, but tonight's call, as part of our series, to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that we're going to be talking about at the seminar, we're going to be talking with Bob Silber. And Bob Silber is a tremendous, not only marketer himself, but he's also an attorney. And we're going to find out from Bob some of the legal aspects of running an online business. The fact is that many of you probably are not doing what you need to do. And I was guilty just like you were as well. In fact, what I did, because I didn't know what I was doing as far as protecting myself online, I hired Bob to actually help me with my online legal strategy. And we're going to get some tips and tricks today. We're going to talk about many of the popular issues that are happening right now online as we speak. And we're going to try to get as much information from Bob as we can in the next 60 minutes. So you're in for a real treat. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Bob Silber. Bob, welcome to the call today.
Thank you, Armand. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Well, Bob, let's do this. What I've been doing is actually asking people just a little bit about themselves so people understand what their background is. I know not only are you an attorney, but you're also an internet marketer as well. In fact, I know when I first got online, I bought several of your products.
Yeah, I was interested in internet marketing for many years, and many years ago I got involved in it, and I really enjoy it. Producing products and just making money like everybody else does out of info products.
Well, let me ask you this now. You're an attorney. In fact, you not only are you an attorney, but you actually teach too.
Yes, I'm an adjunct professor at Florida Atlantic University, which is one of our larger state universities in the state of Florida. And I teach business law, which now encompasses, because of the Internet, it encompasses all types of intellectual property, including the Internet regulations, FTC regulations, trademarks, copyrights, patents, and any other area of the law that relates to doing business.
So basically anything having to do with e-commerce.
Correct.
Okay. Well, now let me ask you this. I know you and I have had several discussions about many things online, and recently there's been a lot of I guess you'd call it buzz about the law and the internet due to several different factors. I know a couple marketers and a couple companies have really been singled out, let's say, by the FTC as far as what they were doing, and and some of us, for example, in my opinion, I didn't think that they were really doing anything wrong except maybe some wrong wording on their site. And so, would you dare to say that the wording on your site, as far as what you have and what you don't have, is going to determine how legal you are as far as doing business online?
Yeah, exactly. The Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, regulates the Internet. And, of course, before the Internet, they regulated any other type of advertising. And they look at the Internet. If you have a business or a commercial website on the Internet, then you need advertising copy, the copy that we all write to sell our products or services. And, they regulate direct mail, television, radio, and all types of media. And, as I said, with the advent of the Internet, of course, they were given a new branch to regulate.
Now, the one aspect that the FTC, when an FTC, for example, it comes to a site, let's single out a site. Let's just say, my BigSeminar site.
Right.
Okay. For example, I was pretty careful when I wrote this, knowing what's been happening online, and I know one of the things that I didn't do, which I really wanted to, because I do know a lot of the success stories that our speakers have had. But one of the things that I didn't do, and I refrained from, if you look through that whole website, I didn't mention one single dollar figure as to what people made.
Well,
and
that's probably a good idea, because that's one of the things that the FTC zeroes in on, is any type of income claim that people make. There's a lot of things they zero in on, but that's certainly one of the things. And if you do make any income claims, you better have it substantiated and proven. And then you're also going to need disclaimers. What they want are the disclaimers on there that these results may not be typical, or that these earnings may not be reflective of what you would make if you make anything, and those type of disclaimers.
I know many of us, we basically, let's say, get overzealous in our attempt to sell a product to the consumer. And what happens is, we utilize, obviously, the income claims, because many times, even though it's true, it may not, we can't use it. Is that right? Even though, say that, I made X number of dollars online, and I couldn't use that, or I shouldn't use that, let's put it that way, in my marketing efforts?
Well, you can use it if it's substantiated and proven, but what you need with it, you're going to need an earnings disclaimer stating basically that, that doesn't mean that the person buying your product or service is going to earn the same thing, and also a disclaimer that they may not earn anything. That's what the FTC looks for.
Okay, so basically anything that we have to say, we have to have a disclaimer saying that, something to the effect of that, even though I made this, you may not necessarily make this as well, because it's based upon my efforts and my marketing strategies that I used.
Exactly. And a good example of the disclaimers is, when we watch TV, let's take, for example, the drugs that we see, the drug ads on TV. At the end of every ad, you'll see a disclaimer. Basically, they're making statements of the side effects that the product may cause. Now, they're not doing this to sell more product, because obviously it has chilling effect on their ad. They're doing it because they want a disclaimer in there to protect themselves from the FTC, and oftentimes the disclaimer they're using, it sounds worse than what you're trying to cure.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not using it just to be your friend or to make more sales.
Right. So sometimes, would you say that? Let's say from me again, I'm a marketer at heart. Would you say that obviously we have to have this thing or we're liable? Let's go in the opposite end of it. Let's say a person doesn't have this disclaimer piece. What could happen to them?
Well, a good example of what could happen is the recent case that involved a marketer that we all know, where the government decided they were going to take action against him and come in and seize his assets, his business assets, his personal assets, shut his business down, and basically, they got a court order that really prohibited him from getting money in any way, including borrowing it or against assets he had. And, the power the FTC has is just awesome. It may even surpass the IRS.
Especially when it comes to our business. For example, many of us are doing this full time, and you take away, anyone's living. Obviously, that creates a burden.
Well, what they did is they took away all his personal and business assets. So, he basically was left with, he didn't have $1 to buy a quart of milk if you wanted to go buy a quart of milk. They're just devastating when they come after you that way.
Right. So this is the part where we put the fear of God into everybody.
Yeah. And rightly so.
And God being the FTC.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now let's talk about some of the things that a person really should have on their site. What are the key, essential ingredients that a person should have on their site?
Well, if they go to your site, the BigSeminar site, down at the bottom, you'll have various disclaimers. You'll have disclaimers, warranties, earnings disclaimers, terms of service, and privacy statement. Now, that's, getting those disclaimers, if you have the money, that's the easy part. The difficulty comes in is, it's not just enough to have the disclaimer, because the FTC wants them presented in a certain way. So basically, the FTC says that these disclaimers should be interspersed in your website copy. So we all know as copywriters that that's really going to have a chilling effect on our sales. So one way around that is the FTC says that if the disclaimer is long enough, in other words, if it just doesn't fit in with the statement that you're making, that you can direct the person to the longer disclaimer. Now, one thing we should all realize up front is the FTC doesn't care in the least about us as marketers. They are only concerned with the consumer and protecting the consumer. So, if we're not following the rules, they're going to come after us.
And that's something we don't want.
Exactly.
Now, let me ask you this. With those various statements, and I know, most of us it's a bunch of legal jargon that we probably don't necessarily understand. As far as what they mean and why they're even applicable. Can we cover, let's say the different pieces here? For example, on my BigSeminar site, and if I scroll down all the way down to the bottom here, I have the warranties, disclaimers, and legal rights. Essentially, what does that cover?
Well, the warranties and disclaimers and legal rights, let me go to the BigSeminar site, basically is going to have just a general disclaimer a little bit about what you warrant and what you don't warrant for your product that you're selling. And also I include in mine what they call a choice of form statement, where if somebody sues you, they are going to have to sue you where you live, or at least you have put that out there so you have a better chance at being sued where you live. Let me just state that none of this is foolproof, but it certainly puts you in a better position legally to have all this stuff. Now, I clicked on your disclaimer and legal rights page, and on my computer it just comes up with the first couple paragraphs.
Yeah, I just noticed that myself. What I did was I created a pop-up, and one of the things I didn't do is put a scroll bar on the pop-up. So that's my fault. So in case
that money and you're not.
So in case anyone's wondering, that's my fault. I configured my pop-up wrong, so I need to fix that today. But if you go there later on, it'll be working.
And the other thing that you're going to see there is, we do a lot of the web. The internet is obviously global, so we do business internationally, and there are some choice of, in other words, choice of language a clause in there that you're going to need, because if you're sued by somebody from some other country, you don't want everything on your site interpreted, in the language of another country. I'll give you an example. When I went to Australia, everybody speaks English, but some of the words there just don't have the same meaning that we have here in the U.S. when we use them. So that's another protection on that particular warranties, disclaimer, and legal right.
Okay, now the terms of service, that basically just tells us, would you say that tells us what we're actually offering?
Yeah, the terms of service basically is just telling the consumer what your website rules are. And, if you read through that, basically it's putting everybody on notice how you do business so that they're not going to come back with a lawsuit, later and say, well, we didn't know that you did business this way.
Now, here's something I think that's probably confusing, and quite honestly, I just noticed this myself, is that a person's privacy policy, for example, I have a pretty long privacy policy here, and that you helped me develop there, and that privacy policy though is something that most people don't have. Most people, if you click on their privacy policy on many individual sites, I know a lot of the bigger corporations usually have this big book that you got to read. But a lot of the small sites saying just something really simple like, we respect your privacy and we're not going to sell, rent, or lease your name.
Right. Well, that may not be enough. So what we're doing with the privacy policy is, protecting ourselves from lawsuits down the road in case somebody, you take somebody's email address and then do something with it, and down the road they're filing a lawsuit saying, well, I wasn't aware that you were going to do that with my email address or my name or my information. So this is what we're protecting against. And one of the things in there you'll notice is
You have just listened to a portion of this Big Seminar interview. To get the complete version, simply go to www.seminarsecrets.com. Find out how you can attend the next Internet Marketing Big Seminar. And for a very special offer you can't refuse, visit www.seminarsecrets.com.